We got some big news coming out about CNN now. And look, we can't say we didn't see this coming, but I certainly didn't see it coming this soon, this fast. It's sort of like the CNN Plus fiasco where they launched their streaming network. And it was like 7.5 minutes after they launched it. Okay, we got to shut it down. It's the worst thing anybody's ever seen ever. I mean, what they have like cooking shows with Anderson Cooper or something like that. Like, yeah, people don't want to watch Anderson Cooper doing his regular job. Why would you want to watch him doing some mundane shit? Or it was like a parenting show or something with Anderson Cooper. Anyway, terrible idea, terrible execution, imploded immediately. They spent $1 quadrillion sort of advertising this stuff, which, by the way, shows you something. There's old media and there's new media. Old media exists because it's cruising off of legacy and momentum. They're on TV. It's a limited number of channels on TV. They have that name recognition. They've been around since, the 1980s. Let's keep it real, man. CNN is kept on in barbershops and airports and places where nobody's watching. If there's some big breaking news event, sure. There's a terror attack somewhere, okay, people flip on CNN. But they're not really attracting anybody. They're not attracting anybody. And the streaming attempt was an absolute failure. You already have 1 million streaming platforms. You already have 1 million different channel options on YouTube of people who know what they're doing. They've cultivated a following online. And they just tried to skip the line, spend $1 quadrillion marketing it and hoping people would watch. It didn't work. Well, guess what? CNN brought in this guy, Chris Licht, to take over from, what's his name? Jeff Zucker. I'm sort of blanking on it now because I'm thinking of Mark Zuckerberg, who's the CEO of Facebook. Anyway, so they bring this guy in, and CNN had a reputation, of course, for basically being the corporate Democrat Party cheerleaders. That's what they do. Sort of in a similar way to how Fox News is the Republican Party cheerleaders. MSNBC is also the corporate Democrat cheerleaders. So CNN was basically, that was their lane during the Trump years. It's basically 24/7 coverage of Trump, bash him nonstop. And the thing, of course, that annoyed me is it was never like good, intelligent policy arguments against Trump. It would always be like very surface level, very silly, non-substantive, stuff that could easily lead people to roll their eyes, and in many instances led to this backlash effect where Trump gained a lot of followers because of how CNN was covering Trump. Okay. So this guy comes in, and don't worry, guys. He has a new vision for CNN. A vision that is going to make them succeed beyond anybody's wildest imaginations. Which, by the way, they define that not as taking Fox News' crown, because they're the number one. They define that as like, we'll be like second to Fox News. Real good vision you guys have. You're really shooting for the stars there, where you're like, what can we do? We can't beat Sean Hannity. What are we going to do? How sad are you? You're so sad. You're so pathetic. But Chris Licht came in. He had all these ideas. You know, his thing was, we need to get back to being respectable. We need to get back to being CNN classic. Which in his mind means what? We're going to be the Centrist Network. We're going to be the Centrist Network. We're going to be the moderate network. We're going to be the neutral network. Neutrality is their thing. So what do they try to do? I don't know. Bring on people with corporate Democrat beliefs. Bring on people with Republican ideas. Bring on Donald Trump sycophants. Bring on Trump himself for a town hall where he gets softball questions from Caitlin Collins, and you pack the audience full of Trump supporters so people get the misimpression that everything this guy's saying is gold. This is what he did. Well, guess what? Not only did that not work, Newsmax is now beating CNN. Newsmax. First of all, their distribution is into like 17 households in the country. They're a low distribution channel. Second of all, they're a third-rate network. And they exist simply to be to the right of Fox News in the same way that One America News exists to be to the right of Fox News. Now Newsmax is beating CNN. Why? Because this whole grandiose idea, we're going to embrace centrism, that's just CNN Classic. And CNN Classic was replaced by Zucker CNN, which was, at least we'll cheerlead for the corporate Democrats. So they clearly thought back then this model is not working. It's just not working. We're not getting as many eyeballs as we want to get. I remember, I've told these stories before, but they would invite on Bill Nye the Science Guy and Marsha Blackburn to debate climate change. And they just leave it up to the audience. This idiot congresswoman who doesn't know her ass from her elbow says climate change isn't happening, and this science dude says it is happening. You guys decide. Is that a good network? Is that a good idea? They used to have, evolution versus intelligent design debates on the air. This is how much they were committed to neutrality. They were so committed to neutrality, they couldn't give you a straight answer on anything. Everything was debatable, and everything was wishy-washy. Didn't work then, didn't work now. That's where we're at with CNN. That's what happened with CNN. But now we learn even things behind the scenes, like this guy's leadership style, was abysmally lacking. First of all, most of the talent that was there under the previous regime was still there. He fired some people, a lot of them were still there. They were just shuffling deck chairs around in the Titanic, moving, people from this slot to that time slot to this time slot, not really changing much in terms of the personnel. Well, what was this guy doing the whole time? He would do his morning workouts, try to escape from the job. He didn't have many conversations with any of the people who worked there. He was in his ivory tower, wasn't talking to anybody, did anything he could to avoid person-to-person conversations, didn't really lay out for everybody his vision of the network. And so resentment started to bubble up underneath the surface. Apart from any ideological visions, they just don't like this guy. He doesn't like them. He doesn't have the trust of them. He starts making these changes. He promises the stars. And then they start slipping even further, going down and down and down some more. So look, what's the solution? You guys know the solution. We've talked about this a million times. You have to stand for something. You have to believe in something. There has to be a mission apart from, we're just going to be neutral about everything. Because who wants to watch that? All the people who are Democratic Party lovers, they're going to go to MSNBC. Some of them used to watch CNN. Now they're all fleeing MSNBC. And you think you're going to attract the right by doing both sidesism? No, they're going to Fox News, and they're going to One American News, and they're going to Newsmax. So you alienate the right, as you always have. You alienate the left. Not even just the left, the Democrats. Of course the left doesn't like CNN. So who's left to watch you? Nobody. Dying grandmas in a hospice. That's who's watching you. Nobody. So what do you need? You need a vision. You need a vision. Look, I don't agree with going with this centrism approach. I don't agree with it. I think it's a bad idea. But even if you were to do the centrism thing, there were better ways to execute it. Now, one of his ideas I think was good, but the show's not on the air yet. I think bringing Charles Barkley in was a phenomenal idea. But the show could still crash and burn if he's in a box. If he feels like he's got to be a different person than he is when he's on NBA on TNT. Well, you really should have done, give all the guys from NBA on TNT a contract. Shaq, Kenny, Charles Barkley, EJ. Let them basically do their show, except now it's on politics. That would get great views. Let them know, hey, this is just like NBA on TNT. You say whatever's on your mind. You want to joke around, you want to have fun, you want to say something controversial, by all means, go right ahead. That'd be a great idea. You want to do a centrism thing? Bring in a centrist who actually gets eyeballs and is charismatic. Idea. Stephen A. Smith. He just started his a podcast that he does. I mean, he does 47 different shows, but he started this podcast that he does where he just gives his opinion on politics, sort of like the format that I have always done. And look, you don't have to like him. You don't have to agree with him. You could be annoyed by him, but you want to watch him because he's dynamic and he's charismatic and he's authentic and he means what he says. So even if you were going to go the route of embracing centrism and moderation and neutrality, there's a way to do it way better than shuffling around Don Lemon to a different time spot and then watching him crash and burn as you knew was going to happen. So he didn't even execute that well. Look, you guys know my take. I'm still waiting to this day. I've never seen a left-wing network on TV, ever. I've seen MSNBC. I've seen Democratic Party apologists. I've never seen truly ideologically left-wing people on TV. Never. And you know what? There's a reason why they would never do it. Because if you're really on the left, you threaten corporate power. What are these news networks? Corporations. They want somebody who's engaging and entertaining on there, screaming about raising their taxes on a daily basis, screaming about redistribution of wealth, screaming about how there should be no billionaires. Are they going to pay for somebody to try to undermine their whole business model and their very existence? No. So you're not really going to see a left-wing network. But if you did a left-wing network, a real good one, charismatic, controversial, intelligent, authentic, you could take the crown of Fox News. But they're never going to do that. So really, I mean, look, they're doomed. The fact of the matter is, what they're going to end up doing, and what it looks like they're already in the process of trying to do, is basically making CNN as bland and vanilla and inoffensive as possible. So you can't do the rah-rah corporate Democrat stuff, rah-rah anti-Trump stuff. It's the both sidesism, it's the neutrality. There's already a channel that does that. It's called CNN International, and nobody watches it. But it looks like they're trying to make CNN like CNN International and just hope they do okay. Fact of the matter is they'll get low ratings, but if they're inoffensive, they'll still get ad dollars. That's another reason why a left-wing network is hard to create. You're not going to get the ad dollars if you have people who are really crusading in favor of left-wing ideas. You're not going to get the ad dollars if you got somebody talking about taxing the rich, taxing corporations, ending the wars, right? It's not good for business. But they'll probably get low ratings, do a bland and inoffensive network, but keep those ad dollars flowing in. That's probably what will happen. So, in other words, CNN will be just as irrelevant as they've always been. But the reason why I love this story is because this dude really thought he was hot shit. He really thought, oh, I'll fix this. I'll get in there. I'll make a couple moves. I'll have a new ideological mission, and I'll be the hero. I'll be the hero for everybody. Dog, you're the hero for nobody. Literally. Nobody likes you. Nobody agrees with you. You did a worse job with CNN than the previous management. And that's a hard thing to do. But you did it. So, embarrassing, but yummy in my tummy. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.